Hey guys, it's Jessica. So, I wanted to recap some things and just get this out in the open and have it thrown out there because I'm done holding this in. Um, whether you guys realize or not, this has been like 17 months and counting that I've been going through medical, continual medical and dental stuff. And I know your immediate response, good majority of you will be, here's Jessica talking about herself again. And I'm not going to even let myself concern myself with that because at the end of the day, you guys don't really know what I do with my free time. You don't really know that much about me, um, despite your continued efforts to try to make it seem like I'm not a family oriented person. I'm someone that has been showing up for you guys. I've made every effort in the book to show up for you the best of my ability, and um, and that's the best I can do. So whatever information was communicated between you, mommy, daddy, that's between you guys. I'm not going to take time and waste time clarifying anything because people have different renditions of the truth apparently on this one. But at the end of the day, I know that I went through a prolonged period of time in which I had to fix months of surgery. I would have teeth sticking out of my gum line. I treated my own infections at home. The only time in which I was allowed to operate on myself was nighttime. Um, Otherwise, the parents were very awkward about it. And yeah, I'm including you in this too because I don't know what was communicated, and it's not really fair for me to have to go back and clarify things. So, as far as I'm concerned, just like you guys dealt with as far on my part in the past, there were things that I would say, then there are things that I would do. My words are congruent with my actions. I don't have skeletons in the closet anymore. I sought out professional therapy for many years to, yeah, get to this level of poverty, but um, there's one thing I can say for sure. It's that I live my life with integrity. I don't have secrets. I'm not a sober saint. I never claimed to be. And so, whatever expectations as far as sobriety and all that, that was never something that was acutely expressed by me that it was a promise that was a forever thing, nor does it define or predicate my behavior. So I'm not going to even consider that as a factor in all this. As far as I'm concerned, you guys have worked really hard. I don't envy you for what you do. You work your butts off. Um, I do think that a few of you have some COVID related trauma. That maybe, hopefully if you find that something's holding you back in your life, you can seek out professional therapy for it because that's what I did for many years. You guys already know kind of what I've done. Did eating disorder treatment twice, rehab multiple times, sought out the help of a PTSD specialist, went through the rape and robbery trial, blah, 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 blah. I don't consider myself special. I don't think about myself as a special person with special problems. I just have my life, and everybody gets dealt different cards in different hand, and that's that. The contrary to popular belief, one huge thing that factored in and led to me finally leaving the drug scene was I could see how badly it was impacting my relationship with myself. I didn't care if I lived or died. I can say for sure that I didn't think I wanted to live past the age of 30. I went by the motto, live fast, die young, leave a good looking corpse. And what I can say though is that I was a victim of trauma and I did the best I could with the skills I had at my disposal. I didn't think I was capable of a whole lot. I wouldn't hold on to jobs for very long. Um, I was really overweight. I was bullied relentlessly, even through first years of college. And obviously the eating disorder thing had a huge impact. And also, after gastric bypass surgery, had a huge amount of fear related to gaining weight, which led to me picking up a prescription of Adderall. And that being said, I want to make something clear. I don't take time to hyperfixate on what it is you guys put in your bodies. That's a personal choice. But I want to let you guys know that I don't think that I'm less of a person or a worse person than you, because the bottom line is this: when someone's placed in a vulnerable position, when they're at an impressionable time, being handed a meth pipe by someone's parent at the age of 15, when Taylor and I were experimenting with drugs and we were having fun and we were in Spring Valley at her boyfriend's house, you know, we picked up the meth pipe, and then the rest was kind of history. It didn't take right away, but change up the variables in one's environment and people make different choices. I'm not going to let other people, yourselves included, demonize me for the simple fact that I put a certain drug in my body, because that was never part of something that was within your environment. Just like if someone is 6 years old, their mom hands them a crack pipe and says, "Here, sweetie, sorry you had a rough day at school, but mommy's going to light this for you. And then mommy's going to go in the next room because we need to put food in the fridge." And then mommy's a prostitute and she's having sex with someone in the next room. That's becoming a normalized thing for that kid. But change up the variables, change up the neighborhood. Mom says, "Sweetie, let me give you a hug. Here's a journal. I want you to draw a picture." Chances are that child is going to pick up drawing and have a healthier relationship as far as coping mechanisms and all that. The past is the past. A lot of you like to say that I'm selfish. And selfishness has a bad rap for one. Self-care is not selfish. And for one, you guys haven't really taken the time to get to know me. And yet I feel like over the years there's been this immense amount of pressure for me to step in and make up for all this lost time. But that time is gone. I can't make up for all the years in which I was off running amok, causing you guys, I can't really put words in your mouth. I don't know what it was that I made you feel, whether it was fear, anger, sadness. Um, One misconception I can say though is that people have this idea that drug addicts, they just are like Tasmanian devils that run and wreak havoc to people's lives with no conscious regard of the consequences of what pain they cause people. But one thing I can say for sure is that even if I didn't know immediately within that time that I missed Charlie's graduation or all these major events or what specific pain I was causing you guys, coming off of drugs and just feeling like death and seeing the look of hatred or disappointment on your faces took me to such dark places. I didn't give a fuck. I thought that's just the person that I was, what I was limited to. And I know as an addict, I can say that I am the first one to remember the things that I did, and to the point where I thought that I wanted to just die and give up, because I thought that that's all I was capable of. And it wasn't until I moved to Poway that I was able to get support and encouragement through Mikey and Mikey's family that I became willing to try to go towards a different direction. And yeah, I stayed sober off of substances for a year. And I also never signed a piece of paper that said, "Hey, I'm going to be a sober saint for life." That seems to be kind of something that has been like imposed on me, but it's never something that was verbalized by me. So if we could like let that part go, I don't need you guys asking me, "Are you sober? What drugs are you on?" You guys can put whatever it is you're gonna put in your bodies. You do your thing, whether it's alcohol or whatever, and I'll do mine. As far as I'm concerned, that's not really your business. I'm an adult, and I'm not going to be shamed because of a substance choice that I put in my body, because it does not change the character of the person that I am. I've worked really hard over the past 12 plus years to walk in a completely different direction, and that for me meant walking away from everything that was familiar. I had to say goodbye to every single person that I was friends with. everything that was familiar, learning how to wake up without hitting a meth pipe first thing in the morning. I didn't know how to brush my teeth, make a bed, nothing. Like, I was so lost, and I'm not a perfect person. And what I can say for sure is that all this dental stuff, I was the one that set the foundation for the rest of the stuff that came out of mommy and daddy's mouth, whatever it was, me having a bad attitude, not appreciating his support. Guess what? That was all bullshit. I'm gonna call it like it is. I set the foundation, though, for other people's lies and own delusions, however you want to call it. It's not normal for someone to say, hey, call someone buddy after a CAT scan showed that buddy almost caused my jaw to collapse off my face. You guys might go back to the whole Jessica's playing a self-pity party. That is abusive, for the record. I'm going to say this directly and very clearly. I will not accept abuse. I will not, at this point moving forward, allow you guys to disparage me. I don't need commentary in the next room over. Charlie and Vanessa, you weren't there, so you get a pass. But you have no idea what it was like. Within the first couple months of surgery, I went through surgery in which I felt the whole thing. I was given inadequate lidocaine, and that's where the threats began. The threats of, if you don't appreciate my support, then get the fuck out of this house and go be homeless. There were some red flags at the beginning. Having to go through surgery every 2 weeks, this guy was moving too fast. But he wasn't doing things super professionally. But at the beginning, I thought it was great. Daddy and I were bonding, so I thought. But I don't know how this bike ride teeth surgery stuff is supposed to work. I was the one that made the suggestion to go down to Mexico because we were quoted like 80 grand in the United States, which is ludicrous. I figured, you know what? Even though you guys have money, I want to be considerate of everyone in the family in case there was an emergency, in case of whatever. Besides that, I felt an immense amount of guilt for all the times in which, I reached out to Daddy to help me with all the major restorative work I'd have over the years. At least $30,000-$40,000 worth of root canals, whatever. And still, nonetheless, my teeth decided to just dropping out like crazy. And Daddy was kind enough to help me, granted with a lot of pressure from DeMeyer and from my maxillofacial surgeon, but, I don't think that you had bad intentions in initiating the process of helping me. But one thing that is very confusing for me is paying for something is different from showing up for a person for being a parent. The same way that if I were to loan Heidi money on a continual basis, money to help pay for Cammy's food or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a great aunt just because I help pay for something. To be a parent, to be there for someone, means to take interest in their life, to show an active interest, to show them respect. I understand that we are creatures of habit. We can't learn something unless we've been taught. And so I've tried to be patient with both of you, Mom and Daddy. As a matter of fact, I have made a great amount of effort since moving back home, but especially since the beginning of surgery, and especially when you went out of town, I saw that Daddy was super lonely, so I hung back. Granted, I was still recovering from surgery, and I made efforts to step in, and it kicked my butt. Let me tell you, it gave me a greater respect for the things that you've done over the years to manage to keep the house together. I did not dare touch the garden because I'm not going to lie to myself. Gardening's not my thing, but I would sweep, clean the house, organize the workbench. I noticed that, you guys didn't have a walkway where Daddy was taking the recycling out. There were so many things that I did around the house, but I did so without taking before and after pictures, but I did it out of love and out of consideration for all the years in which I was a selfish, self-centered person that I was totally the epitome of what I saw. and got to work with firsthand at Alpha Project with my clients and talk about karma. And I thought of it every single time I'd go and work in a homeless shelter, which I, by the way, almost single-handedly ran. Open the microwave up, someone blew up an entire thing of cheese. It's gonna take me 20 minutes to clean this thing, but I did it anyway. So there were things that happened during surgery, going back to that, that you guys will never understand because you weren't there. Professional boundaries were crossed. It's not normal for a surgeon to give professional grade looting material to a patient so that they can go home and fix surgery while still charging $35,000. That's not normal. This guy was very manipulative. He's very charismatic until he wasn't. His behavior was very Jekyll and Hyde. But I mean, there'd be points where Daddy'd be hanging over my face. He would stop doing surgery on me in order to show Daddy special cases. And the way that he spoke was very different as time went on. At the beginning of this process, he claimed that he had maxillofacial experience. And towards the end, it never came up again. He was a liar. He was a con artist. And I recognized, Daddy, you're going through a vulnerable time with Jim Poirier being in a memory care facility, and Jay Metzinger, his family harassing you when you try to just spend time with him. I'm not minimizing these things, nor am I minimizing the fact that, Maya, you don't really have friends either. You have your Escondido friends. But one thing you don't know about me is I don't have a double life. I don't have a million closest friends. I have almost no friends at all. The few people I've kept in touch with have been mainly like one or two people, and one of those people is a former client from the homeless shelter. And maybe a few Buddhist friends and people I rarely talk to, but for the most part, I was really focused on trying to figure out how to do the surgery thing, and I had to deal with a lot of public humiliation while also going through harassment. And we're talking the beginning phases of surgery. I can't even remember exactly what it was you guys were doing, but the criticism, the nitpicking, the just badgering, finding things that I was doing wrong was so incessant while I was going through surgery. And Daddy, you lied. You promised me you would help me with painkillers. You gave me painkillers twice. So I was in major pain because one surgery meant 3 root canals, 2 extractions. Okay, so just when I thought that the pain was over, I had to go through the same hell on the other side of my mouth, just when I was regaining the ability to eat food. Then there came the point in time when you had the tracker on my car, tracker on the phone, things you never did to us when we were in school, but for some reason I was the lucky contender and the sole recipient of this weird behavior. But I'm going to call it like it is. It happened, and I don't know what was communicated, but I'm putting that all out there because I want it to be something that is addressed, so that way I can draw a line in the sand, make sure we're clear on a lot of things, and then move on. For the people that want to continue disrespecting, you're going to be out. For people that want to listen, acknowledge, change your behavior accordingly, then we can continue to work through it. Having to go through surgery in which I was administered lidocaine, and then, you know, surgery sucks. Having 4 shots to the roof of the mouth is misery, but as the surgery started, I prompted the doctor. I told him in both English and Spanish, hey, I raised my hand up. I need more lidocaine. I can feel the drilling. Okay, but he was kind of annoyed. He administered more lidocaine. Immediately started drilling. I didn't think about it until after the fact. Actually, until after I talked to Daddy about it. He should have waited. He didn't care. He was a bit of a sadist. It was a very fucking weird thing. The way that he acted towards me and myself versus the way he acted when Daddy was around. 2 different people. But anyway, I told him a few more times, and then after a while, I just kind of gave up. He didn't give a shit. I went through, I don't know, 6 hours of drilling, felt the whole surgery, tears streaming down my face, while I tried my best to picture the waves crashing at the beach. I just try to take myself to some other place because I wanted to get this shit over with. And it was obvious this guy didn't care. I've been through some painful shit, but I figured, fuck it, let's just get it done. And I don't know what month that was. This was all such a clusterfuck of a lot of things that have been happening for so long. I think after that first one, Daddy said, oh, next time I'll make sure I'll go with you and make sure. That should never have been the case. It should never have been the case that that should have ever even happened again, that that guy should have ever been trusted again. And I want to be clear on one thing. This never would have happened to any of you guys. But since I was the drug addict of the family, in the end, the thing that broke my heart more than anything is I feel like you guys disregarded so much of my pain and suffering because you're like, well, fuck you. You put us through hell. So what do you expect? You want us to like care about you all of a sudden after everything you put us through? And I'm going to say this. I'll say this once. I'm not going to say it again. It's not okay. Let's go back to that old two wrongs don't make a right. So if what it boils down to is you guys managed to delete 12 years in which I was a behavior specialist. I ran a homeless shelter. I busted my ass. I did everything I could, oftentimes putting my job on the line more often than not. To the point where I almost got fired from my job, but 7 times Power Unified, fought back. People don't like me, that's okay, but different doesn't mean wrong. Put my job on the line. It could have been for insubordination. I didn't concern myself with the fact that my coworkers were stealing from the company or partaking in gang activity or doing whatever. I worked around that. To be called dumb, selfish, and lazy by Daddy, to be told I'm a prostitute. I don't think there's anything selfish about deciding to utilize your La Jolla address in order to gather the supplies that we were desperately needing at the homeless shelter. I worked with clients that a lot of them were not English speakers, which was hell for me. I was the token translator. I became the plumber, security. There were times that I would be left with 150 people and staff would be gone. I had to deal with a lot of harassment, threats, and it was up to me. I took on a lot more work than I even had to, but I started conducting donation drives because we wouldn't have blankets for the new intakes, whether they came in from psych wards, detention facilities, off the street. I didn't need to know what place they were coming from. These were people that had been through enough shit. I wanted them to be able to at least get a bed at a homeless shelter and have a pillow and a blanket to sleep with. I couldn't focus on the things I couldn't control. I did my best to bribe the shit out of my coworkers, not using too much of my money. But you better believe, I bought them Starbucks. I threw them vapes. I couldn't stand them. They were lazy motherfuckers. They were selfish. I had to fake it at a certain point because I'm not a fake person. And whether you guys realize or not, I'm someone that lives with PTSD. I've changed a lot over the years because I've been through a lot, but I've also overcome a lot. If you want to view me as a negative person, that's fine. Maybe educate yourself on the nature of PTSD. I don't know what you guys have been through, but I've been more than open to getting to know more about your lives. But I was living in North County for almost 10 years. I've been really busy with work, just as you guys have. But you guys have also been doing the normal people thing for a lot longer than I have. But I just want to put out there, I can't do anything to change the past as far as what has already transpired. So if there are things that you want me to do differently, or that you want to talk to me personally about, that you've never feel like you were heard on, or need a process, or vent, or yell at me for, I'm more than open to hearing what you have to say. I really am. But I can't read your mind, and I'd rather communicate and problem solve than to stay stuck. Because one thing's for sure, I will not be accepting the position as the family whipping boy. So this was an important message for me to record. For one, I just left the hand specialist office, and I guess I need double elbow surgery, and then I need carpal tunnel surgery also in the left hand. My left hand and elbow were injured as a direct result of having to teach myself medicine, dentistry, chemistry, so that I could fix in my teeth myself, because that guy was a negligent piece of shit. And I can't comprehend how you guys can possibly minimize the fact that I have a permanent, irreversible jaw disorder as a direct result of this guy's botched job surgery. March 26th was the last surgery that Dr. Bogren fucking touched me. And before I left that office, I was in such a state of disbelief at the level of debauchery that he left in my mouth, all over my face and my clothing was so next level. I almost flipped out that day. That surgeon, regardless of what you think, Daddy, your buddy or whatever, he successfully cemented my entire cheek to my surgical site. I was choking on chunks of luting agent. That's concrete. That's what they used to cement down teeth. I was choking on it. It was in my eyes. It was in my mouth. I was spitting out blood. I couldn't see. It was in my eyes. I had my contacts. It was all over my clothes. And this degenerate fuck didn't do so much as even help me out of the chair. He didn't put the seat up. His big thing that he would say to me before I left his office was, "Now make sure you clean your face off before you leave this office." He was a real gem. I was in so much pain. But before I left that office, I just remember his daughters are endodontists. They were both working on clients. It was just not right. And I almost flipped out. I was going to fucking scream at the top of my lungs, what part of this is okay? Because I had it with that guy. It was unprofessional, unethical. It was so wrong on so many levels. And I promised myself I would never go back to that office again. I didn't flip out. I made a mental commitment, mental promise to myself. I'm never going to go through this again. I'm not going to come back here regardless of whatever. Despite being in agonizing pain, I made my way down to the bathroom, where I typically after the surgery would go and fix this guy's work, get the bonding agent, the chunks of it, get the blood, spit it out, whatever, get it off my face, off my clothes, whatever. That was typical after surgery with him. And this time was so different. And even though I was in blinding pain, I went ahead and moved my car, but I knew for a fact that there was no way I was going to make it back to the American side of the border. I pulled into a grocery store parking lot where I think I called Daddy. I told him I was in extreme pain. I thought I was going to be able to go into the grocery store to get ice. I just pretty much curled up in the fetal position and I just tried to watch Netflix or something for hours. I have no idea how long I spent there. I eventually did make it into the grocery store, and it was kind of cool. It's contrary to what you guys get to do. I'm a nerd. I get excited over nerdy shit. You guys have traveled the world, but I don't always know that you appreciate the things that you've had the chance to do. So I went to the grocery store. When I did, I spent a good amount of time just going and checking things out and seeing if I could even figure out what things were. Because, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to Mexico, so it was really kind of, the novelty was not lost on me. I don't know what I did. But I eventually made it back to I don't have eyebrows anymore, the American side, and the rest was kind of a blur. Like, more often than not, when I would finally get back to the house, driving myself to and from surgery, that's when I wasn't taking the trolley. It's a little weird that was even the case, taking the trolley, or, the night that I was robbed, I was taking the trolley back from surgery. Had I had more resources, I guess I could have called a friend, but I don't have friends in San Diego. And I don't blame that on you guys, but I'm just stating facts. I don't have some double life that you guys don't know about, especially now. You know, going out in public vicinities. For 2 months, I had no teeth in my mouth at all, and it was humiliating. For 2 months, I was living off brownie mix and canned peas. Those were the only two things I could eat. Couldn't fix my surgery anymore. And you know what, though? I still got hired by one of the biggest nonprofits in San Diego. I still showed up to work. But unfortunately, I couldn't start right away at Path, even though they offered me $26 an hour, which is kind of like unheard of for a non-college graduate. But I applied there for the 4th time, got the job, but I had to delay my start date because March 26th was the day that guy left such acute chemical burns in my mouth that I was unable to drink even water for 3 days. No big deal, Jessica being selfish? I don't think so. I didn't file my taxes. I could barely function. I wasn't sure that I was even going to be able to start at Path. The first day I went in and kicked my ass. I think I went straight from the ER. The second day, right before I went out the door, my prosthesis that I'd fixed a million times over snapped in so many places I could no longer fix it anymore. I freaked the fuck out. I had had a new job. I felt like I got hired by Google. Here was this great opportunity to work for one of 2 nonprofits that I was very set on working for, so excited about, and I could no longer fix this guy's botched job work. I was crushed. I was devastated. I did my best to fix it, and even so, I showed up. And the whole time I was at work, I had to hold my top row of teeth in with my tongue, but I still showed up. So if you please, move on from this narrative. Jessica's selfish. I sit in the corner, feel sorry for myself, think only about myself. Maybe instead take the time to get to know me. And maybe stop being so self-centered and expecting me to call you all the time. Communication works both ways. I was actually surprised. I thought you guys would take an interest since you work in healthcare. I thought you would care about the patients that you treat. You guys treat ailments, but I care about the whole person, and I don't need to be a doctor or a nurse to care about people. I don't want to limit myself to one occupation. I've been doing things with my time that might be different from what you guys think I'm doing with my time, and I don't really concern myself with what you guys think that I'm doing with my time. Because if you took time to talk to me, then you'd find out. But, probably the number one misconception I get from strangers is that I'm a drug dealer. Or the second one is people see the dashboard of my car is, do you work with children? That's fine. I don't trip over that. Because that's the nice thing about healthy self-esteem. Ego, it's like a castle built out of playing cards. With a flick of a finger, you can dismantle it. It crumbles to the ground. I worked really hard on myself. And one thing that does bother me, it does bother me a lot, is that despite the fact that I can see that you guys use me as a way to deflect, to not focus on your own lives, your problems, or the things that you have going on, or maybe you have unresolved things from things that I did to you. And now is the perfect time to get that out of your system and fuck Jessica and let's get together and barbecue and laugh at her. Okay, well, you've had your chance to laugh. Now, and now some boundaries need to be set and some decisions need to be made. Because despite what I can see intellectually that has been going on, what you guys don't realize is that one of the last times you guys were at the house barbecuing before Mommy's birthday, you guys were barbecuing, and I was in such a hopeless state of heartbreak and sadness, thinking to myself, I started out this process with teeth in a state of disrepair in a family, and all I can think of is I might not have teeth, but I would rather have no teeth and have a family than have pretty teeth. And just like that, it's like I was kicked out of the family, and that hurt more than anything. There have been so many times I've gone back to that house, now having resorted to trying to live out of my car because I cannot trust myself, the words that will come out of my mouth anymore, as far as the weird behavior that I've been continuing having to deal with the commentary, the criticism. I'm done hearing bullshit from people that have put me through hell and have failed to take responsibility for your end of things, mommy and daddy. It is not okay to laugh in my face about starvation. You called me a prostitute? No, I'm not a prostitute. It's gotta feel real, like, insulting to your intelligence that you trusted someone that you paid $35,000 to. And I'm not super happy with the fact that I was trapped into not picking, you picked the second surgeon because you're what, impressed with his Stanford degree? He had no experience in restorative work. I don't know why you didn't let me pick the person that I found in TJ, but you better believe I'm filled with a lot of anger, a lot of stuff that's gonna take a trained professional for me to work through, because I get to experience PTSD for the second time, and I'm reminded every single day of the fact that I started out with broken teeth and a family, and I have pretty teeth, a jaw that could still collapse. This guy didn't really know. Rows of teeth that have already fallen out again. Teeth that are still mobile. Not really my problem. Don't harass me about Sprint bill, whatever. If you want to waste your money, then that's on you. If you wanted to have corrective surgery done, then maybe you should have consulted with someone in the United States. I found a third surgeon, but you refuse to hear me out because you know everything. You guys know so much, though, that in a short span of time, you almost killed a dog. You guys don't even understand you almost killed Cammy, because that kid has learned that in the Whitney family, to be relevant, to be loved, in order for that to happen, you have to go into medicine. Otherwise, you are not worthy of respect, love, and attention. That's bullshit. I worry so much about that kid. As for the dog, if you guys use your powers of observation, that dog has been through trauma. The dog has increased need for security. And the dog licks the ground all the time. So, the roach, the rat poison, whatever, well, I'm just grateful that I was not there. Otherwise, for sure, I would have been blamed for that as well. I'm done with this stuff. I need, I guess, double elbow surgery. I need surgery on my hand. But I just want to make a few things clear, and this is it. This is the last of it. If there's something you guys want to talk to me directly about, without the abusive language, I don't need the harassment. When I stabbed myself in the hand while making daddy food while mommy was out of town, you guys made a joke of it. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. I couldn't stop the bleeding. I've been through some painful ass shit. To me, that was not funny. You guys have gotten really used to like joking around about a lot of things, but for me, this needs to be addressed right now, because there's certain things I joke around about, but as far as my health, that's not something that is funny at all, because this has impacted my every single day life. And the chronic pain is part of it, but the emotional pain of feeling like I no longer even have a family in my life at all has been devastatingly traumatizing. Devastating, crushing, heartbreaking. So you can go ahead, you can say Jessica's selfish, she's all about herself. You have no fucking idea what I do with my free time, but I'll give you a hint. I study social systems, human psychology, social policy, law, things that have to do with helping great numbers of people. I have an itemized list of things in my head that I would love to eventually try to put in fruition, but I can't really help anyone if I'm dead. Because guess what? Suicide, thoughts of suicide, feeling so depressed, loss of motor function, can't really get around, don't really have friends, don't really have support, don't have family I can trust or turn to. Feeling like I've had to rebury you guys. Feeling like coming back to that house in La Jolla is like going back to a prison. That was my prison by the sea. It's bad enough for me to have experienced the first few months of surgery where I've left on foot because the buses stopped running. They had a tracker on my car. Everyone needs support. Everyone deserves support. And I agree. The same applies to you guys. I don't want you guys to be miserable. As far as I'm concerned, the bottom line is this. I've had a chance to do some informal field anthropology work, and I've learned a lot of huge lessons out of this. One, I've been very privileged in getting to grow up in a country where we have access to clean water 24 hours a day. We grew up in La Jolla, safe neighborhood. Two, parents that are still married. Granted, paddock on the fridge, not normal. And still a little baffled as to how you guys can disregard and suddenly forgive and forget, or just completely forget about the years of abuse we went through. That's your professional therapy. Maybe you'll seek out eventually, maybe not. But I'm not gonna be like full of shit and like entertaining that. Maybe you can laugh about it and talk about it like, oh yeah, I was kind of hard on you kids. We went through abuse. Or maybe I can just speak for myself. I witnessed years of abuse. I remember the threats of having, I'll knock your teeth out. I remember being challenged. Heidi, you were challenged to fistfights on the front line. I remember Jose molesting 2 of you at least. I remember because you told me when we were kids. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't understand what was going on. So if you guys want to put that behind you or sweep it under the rug, that's fine, but I can't live a life like that. I can't. I don't, and I won't. That makes me the token angry one in the family, since Heidi, that was you for a long time. As far as I'm concerned, you guys should have been kissing Heidi's ass. Because she was the one that tried to step in. She was kind of like the parent of the family. Shelly, I don't know where the fuck you were. It's not really nice, though, that you were like bullying the shit out of Heidi, for the record, but people deal with trauma in different ways. I guess you're the narcissistic, abusive, codependent of the family. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't play one on TV. I'm not interested in doing a psychoanalysis of any of you guys, but you know, when I look back at the years in which I was doing drugs, I can say one thing's for sure. Drugs probably saved my life. Drugs were the best coping mechanism I had at the time. And I don't buy into this idea that because you put a substance in your body, that suddenly makes you a bad person. That being said, that was the best I knew. That's what I thought I was limited to. Because I didn't know what the fuck else to do with myself. I didn't make it through college. I don't beat myself up for that. Because I'm a nerd. However you want to see me, that's on you. I don't care about the perceptions of others. I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop growing. I never want to stop progressing. Because that is the precursor for all innovation. And to just stop learning because you get a piece of paper and get a high-paying job is such a cop-out to me. That's not the basis upon which education was founded. To me, I don't think it's illegal to be enthusiastic on pre-approved times. I like certain things about myself that I know make me different, maybe make me stand out, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I am who I am. You know, I feel like I haven't really gotten to know you guys a lot, but, you know, I hope that we can move past this. Some of you, I feel like you have this chip on your shoulder, or you have like some sort of a wall where, I don't even know, Vanessa, Shelly, you're kind of a weird one when it comes to, I made a lot of initial efforts when I first moved out to San Diego to make contact with you. Hey, let's go have sushi. And I don't appreciate the strange commentary of, I'd invite you, but you can't afford it. Like, what happened to you? Who do you think you are? Really, like, who do a lot of you think you are? You guys didn't teach yourselves the skills necessary to perform your job. Just because you have a higher paying job doesn't mean I don't work just as hard as you do. So I don't need the abuse, I don't need the maltreatment, I will not accept it in my life. So if the result of me sending this video is that you guys decide, I don't need this drama, I don't need this selfish bitch in my life, whatever, that choice is yours, but I'm drawing a line in the sand. Because from here on out, if there's holidays, and I get thrown under the bus, and hey, let's laugh at Jessica, I will stop going to holidays. I've been living out of my car. It hasn't been fun, but if I can't communicate directly, which I've made several efforts to, in an effort to have civil conversations so I'm treated with respect, my lock's not popped up in the middle of the night, not being accused of weird shit, like setting fires in the room, trying to poison the dog or whatever weird shit comes out of your guys' mouths. You guys are very strange people when it comes to things that you say and do to me. You don't realize, you don't understand how hard I've worked on your house. And I don't need credit for it. I'm not even gonna go into it. But kiss my ass as far as that's concerned, because I busted my ass fixing your house, going out of my way to replace light bulbs, moving things that I know are gonna be too high for you, Molly, because Daddy can be kind of a selfish prick sometimes. And Daddy, you're spoiled. I'm gonna say it. I don't know. I almost feel like bad because when you got in Mommy's face the other day because she crashed your car in the garage, I don't know why you treat her like that. You should be saying thank you. You should be appreciative. She cooks food for you every night. That was the first time in my entire life I've ever actually wanted to come to your aid, Molly. But that's between you guys. I'm not going to get into your marriage, your happily ever after, whatever. But if I'm such a problem, then why is it that you will not help the problem successfully get the heck away from you so that I can move into a healthier environment? Because as far as I'm concerned, I've been through significant trauma with the stuff that I've had to go through in the last 17 months. Whether you guys ever come to terms with the fact of the people that you used to be, that's up to you. But at no point in time, Mommy and Daddy, have I ever said you're bad people, you're bad, evil, bad parents. That's what you will take my words and twist them into. If anything, I've made efforts, whether you realize it or not, to talk to you, to ask you questions about your life. Because I figured, you know, you had a lot of kids, maybe you're young, you're vulnerable, kind of dumb, didn't really know what you're getting yourselves into, didn't really understand how much 5 kids was going to cost you. But you really didn't know each other, and I still don't know that you guys know each other that well. You were busy going through medical school. You left her with Grandma, and then you guys popped out a bunch of kids. I hear it in your guys' conversations at nighttime. But that's for you guys to figure out. If you're happy or not, that's for you guys to decide. But if you guys want to be proactive and support me in getting away from you, then show it. In my opinion, you should be offering to help pay for a room and a house anywhere so that I don't have to sleep in my car, because living with chronic pain, having ongoing hand condition, spine pain, whatever, has been miserable, has been humiliating. Having had to go into public vicinities looking like a crackhead prostitute, I still did it. But after doing it only for a few days and seeing how different people treated me, it didn't matter. My teeth were gone from a bike wreck. People don't know. Children pulling, or parents pulling their children away from me at dollar store when I offered to buy their kid their birthday present because I could tell that they didn't have a lot of money. Oh no. And then like, okay, we don't want you to touch our child. You guys don't understand what it was like, the humiliation of not feeling comfortable eating in public places, so ducking in alleyways at nighttime. Because that's when I was at lab doing my surgery. And also, I felt humiliated. Humiliated. Looking like a toothless freak. I became housebound pretty much because I was afraid if I sing, if I vape, if I smile, if someone talks to me on the street, they're going to see my teeth, and I felt ashamed of how I looked. And yet I still ventured out. But by God, during that time, losing motor function in my left hand from hand drilling my teeth in, waking up, having no motor function, numbness throughout my entire hand, 8 ER visits. Daddy, don't tell me I've been abusing the emergency room when you have been abusing me. in a non-textbook domestic violence situation, deprivation of food, water, access to medical care, in turn actually makes it a violation of criminal, civil law, independent adult law. I'm not threatening you, I'm stating a fact. I've been documenting this stuff for 17 months. And siblings, I've been recording you too at times. It's not a pretty picture, especially the showdown on Mommy's birthday when you guys told me to shut the fuck up, go back to your little room. You mean my prison where I did my surgery? What the hell happened to you guys? You guys made a bunch of money, then suddenly started taking yourselves really seriously. You can take yourselves as seriously as you want, but I'm not going to let you do so at my expense. You can have your fancy truck parties. You don't need to invite me. I don't need to be involved in your life at all. But if that's the case, then I need that to be a clear communicated thing. You don't need to talk to me. You don't need to see me. You don't need to acknowledge me when you see me. If I'm happy with the house, don't talk to me at all. But one thing's for sure, I will not be accepting any more maltreatment from here on out. Because enough is enough. I have double elbow surgery, but first surgery will be, April 1st or the 4th? I don't remember. MemoryDisorder.com. Yes, do I do anything special? But I need to clarify things, clear the air, and get this off my head, get this off my heart. This has been hell. This has been hell. And if I didn't care about my family, then this wouldn't have hurt as much as it has. I don't expect you guys to do anything special. It broke my fucking heart, Charlie, when you came to town and I couldn't stick around because I was not going to flip out in front of a baby. It felt really fucking unfair. Literally, the only reason I went back to that house was to hook you up. And also because I wanted to spend time with Reed. And when I heard Daddy, the first words out of your mouth were, well, this past year has been all about Jessica's teeth. Bullshit. This past year was you guys traveling the world, traveling to Washington, Hawaii. While I was stuck at home, Cammy being hired to babysit me. Like I'm some sort of criminal, some sort of thug who's been running through the house with graffiti cans, punching you both in the face. Wouldn't know. Even with 2 splinted hands, I would sweep your garage. Even with food stamps, when I lost the ability to chew food, I bought you food, I bought you muffins, I set them on the counter. And it's weird to lecture me about having bought the wrong salt, Daddy. That was just less than a week ago. I tried to do something random. I noticed you guys were out of salt. I didn't have to buy you shit. That's where you say thank you. Instead, you lecture me for like 10 minutes about how it's dangerous to not use salt unless it's iodized. That's not normal. Since you like to use that word. It's not normal. It's not supportive. It's not appreciative. Leading to my final thought, there have been times when, because of how much I've changed the way that I would live my life, the hardest of days, one thing I would do is a random act of kindness for another person. And no matter what, whether I can write or I can't, write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And on really, really rough days where I find myself feeling sorry for myself, go on YouTube, find a video, early onset Lou Gehrig's disease. And that is where I found some of the most inspirational people that really touched my heart and helped me appreciate how fortunate I am for a lot of different things. So you guys can think whatever you want. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's has one. But, moving forward, I hope that we can move past this. Yeah, granted, awkward.com. I'm putting it all out there, but I need to do this for myself, for clarity of mind, peace of mind. If you want to just send me a text message back saying, fuck you, I don't want you in my life, that's fine. But if that's how you feel, then please communicate that. The sooner the better. So that way I can just check out that box, close the door, and it can be done in my mind. This has been stuff that's been haunting me for a long time, and now that I have a surgery date, and have been limited to pretty much full time trying to live out of my vehicle. But for the record, Molly and I'm still be coming and going to the house. I will not let you drive me to homelessness. But I still remove myself as a variable, as you have, Mommy, you told me that I can get respect when I move out of the house. Why should I have to move out of the house in order to get respect? I'm a human being. I'm your daughter. I'm not sure why it is that you feel it's okay to talk to Blanca in a respectful, enthusiastic way, or to be so happy if one of the other family members, mainly, Charlie or Vanessa, call you, and then you change the way you act towards me completely. It's not okay. It's kind of weird. And I've tried so hard to acknowledge the things that you do right. Ironically, Mommy and Daddy, both things that I get so many positive characteristics from both of you. And siblings, like, I see so much good in all of you, despite everything that's transpired. Vanessa, you are a badass. You went from being the shy one in the family to being like the super confident, hot nurse that also scored a really down-to-earth guy. And despite the fact that you've always been really physically attractive, I do genuinely think that you have a great deal of care and concern for your patients, but to the point where I worry about you sometimes. Because you guys work in a field where it's really minimized, like the trauma exposure that you guys have to deal with. People you see die. And I hope to God that, like, if you ever feel like it's too much for you, that you seek out treatment, or you do what Charlie did, which is get the fuck out. I don't want you to turn into some bitter person, because life's too short to be just someone that goes to work to collect a paycheck. Shelly, you are like the social butterfly of the family. You have like a magnetism to you that I don't even know what you do or what you say, but you don't even just go meet people. You meet the manager of the restaurant, the owner, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh yeah, they're gonna let me go ahead and stay at their house in Brazil for 2 weeks. That's not nothing. You have like a natural social aptitude, and then you have always been like the kind of adventurous one. You were the one that went on the tree swing when we were at Campo Longo years ago. You've always been kind of like the ballsy one. I don't have any malice or hatred towards you, despite whatever you might think. And I understand some of these things take time, trust and all that. Charlie, I communicated to Daddy. I didn't appreciate that, you're treated kind of like a crackhead when you went off to Africa and you did the volunteer at the conservation camp for a year. And my memory fails me, and this frustrates me a lot. I think you worked with elephants, but my brain tries to tell me gorillas. Yeah, the memory stuff's real. I found my fucking wallet in the fridge the other day. It gets really frustrating, but whether it's elephants or gorillas, like, it takes so much courage for you guys to have gone some of the places you've gone without knowing the language, and for going and actively pursuing the things that you are passionate about. Like Heidi, I'm not super stoked that you accepted the job doing insurance law, but if you want to pick up a different area of law, boy, do I have a project for you if you ever care to step out of your comfort zone. You're always like the responsible one in the family. I think that you made tremendous progress as far as the efforts you made with Cammie. I do worry about you. I do. And I just hope that you guys know that no matter what, I love you. I would drop everything, regardless of what I have going on, Heidi, just like I did for you on Thanksgiving. And Charlie, little do you know, like, I thought it was so unfair for Reed to have been born with his syndrome, because if it were up to me, my call, I would let someone chop off my left hand if that meant that your baby could be born healthy. I would do it in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, I don't have that option. And Heidi, for the record, when Mikey and I first started dating, I felt like it was unfair because you had done all these things for so long to help me, and here I am scoring the guy. I thought it was unfair too, which is why when I went to rehab, I asked Mikey, I said, please show my sister a good time. I'm lucky that I'm still alive. I'm lucky that I didn't have what happened to Taylor happen to me, but I will never forgive myself for what I did do. Not only to just hurt you guys, but for the night in which I totaled my car, totaled another person's car in Poway. I could have killed someone. And I never let myself forget that. Never let myself forget that. I will never forgive myself for that. But I can't let myself stay stuck in this place where I just remind myself of all the things I've done wrong over the years. Otherwise, I will just end up dying. And if I die, I can't help anyone. I can't help any other people. And that's what my purpose in this world is. Yeah, I want to have fun. I might joke around a lot, but you'd be surprised the nature of the things that I focus my energy on tend to be towards focusing on things that are deeper than just working at a homeless shelter. And I won't get into it because it gets complex and it gets into politics and I guess what they call social physics and all sorts of other things. But I'm not an idiot. I'm not lazy. I'm not dumb. I'm not selfish. Just because I don't have a degree, I don't have a bunch of fancy stuff, doesn't mean I don't appreciate the things that I do have. And to me, like, this has been a real huge chance for me to kind of challenge a lot of these things, these ideals that we Americans pride ourselves on. Like independent. I don't consider myself independent. I'm sitting in a car I didn't make myself. I'm wearing clothes I didn't make myself. I'm okay with being interdependent. I like to think that the American people do care about other people, but we're just priding ourselves on these things that are essentially killing us as a country. The 80-hour work weeks to buy what? The shiny toys, the things that we don't really need. But at the end of the day, you know, going to Mexico, it was a real freaking social shock, culture shock, whatever you want to call it. Going back and forth from a homeless shelter to La Jolla, to the slums of Mexico, to the castle my buddy, former friend lives in the middle of Rancho Santa Fe. Seeing people in Encinitas gasp in horror because a homeless man that was schizophrenic dashed in front of a Tesla, almost got killed. But knowing that the reason those people gasped was not because they were worried about the welfare of that gentleman. They were worried, they were pissed that that guy almost dented that shit out of that car. To seeing the little kids on the street in Mexico, standing on each other's shoulders, juggling knives, swords, and then going car to car asking for money. But then I would watch them. I would observe. They never looked angry when people wouldn't give them money. They never looked angry. There was so much more culture, community. I felt almost stupid coming back to the American side. City life's not for me. I'm not into San Diego anymore. I hope that sooner than later I can get the heck out of here because there's too much city stuff. I want more nature, less fake, more friendly. I don't like that the number one reaction I get from people when I ask them how they're doing is a look of suspicion. I'm fine now. What is it you're really asking? Like, I jokingly say to a few friends that I have, I caught autism from my students. I didn't used to notice all the excessively bright lights and how different elements in my environment impact me, but now I'm aware, and now I would love to get away from the city. And, you know, I probably would have done it by now, but medical stuff has kept me here. And also, I don't have a clear set of where the heck I'm going to go. I don't have a lot of resources. And I don't plan on just, like, leaving, hitchhiking from California without having some sort of plan in mind. At any rate, I'm getting really tired. I hope you guys did take the time to listen to this. I appreciate it. If you didn't, well, I can't say I didn't try. I'm going to be uploading this to my YouTube, and then just sending you guys a link. Watch it, you don't, but, alright, love you. Have a good day. I'm out.